Hello friends, Christian here with BrickLifeCrisis. This channel is recommended for adult fans of LEGO and teen fans of LEGO. If you are younger than the age of 13, you're welcome to watch, but first, get your parents' permission. Hello friends, Christian here with BrickLifeCrisis again, and today we're taking a look at another LEGO architecture set. This is Paris, set number 21044, consisting of 649 pieces. It's recommended for ages 12 and up. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and open it up, build it up, and see what we think. So on the back of the box, we get a little bit better idea of what's inside. We have the Paris Skyline featuring the Arc de Triomphe, the Tour Montparnasse, whatever this tower is, I don't know. The Grand Palace, which is really nicely done here. And then, of course, the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre. So the box for these Skyline sets is a little different than most. After you cut some tape, you open the box thusly. And the nice thing about that is you can use the box to store the set if you're not going to keep it on display. Inside the box we had 4 bags of parts and the owner's manual. My manual has gotten a little bit scraped up inside. I guess the bags stood around in there for a while. But these manuals are kind of thick, almost like books. And they always have some nice photography inside and give you a little bit of a description of what you'll be building. And then you get to the actual instructions. Now it's time to start. And here are the spare parts for this set. Nothing terribly exciting, but a fair number. And here it is, the Paris Skyline, set number 21044 from LEGO Architecture. Let's go ahead and take a closer look. Alright, and first up we have the Arc de Triomphe. This is a monument that was built by Napoleon, started in 1806. This has been the starting point for military parades and Bastille Day and all that stuff for the last couple of hundred years. It's a monument with some beautiful artwork sculpted all the way around it. Of course, you don't get any of that detail here. But there's a big traffic circle formed around it, and they've sort of recreated with a lighter gray the street that would go around. As we move down just a little bit, we have the Champs-Élysées, which is a shopping district. And this area of trees here is where the Tour de France ends, that famous bike ride, the race, and that's done up fairly nicely as well. We have a couple more of those trees down here at the plaza behind the Eiffel Tower, but we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Next is the Tour Montparnasse. I'm not saying that right, I'm sure, but it's a giant skyscraper that a lot of Parisians don't really care for because it does not fit in with the rest of the skyline, but it is a tall business building, and it's represented fairly well here. Next, at the end of the Champs-Élysées is the Grand Palace, and this was originally made for the 1900 World's Fair, or they called it a Universal Expo back then, but this was built in 1897 for the 1900 Expo. Now it is a gallery, a place where various art is shown and performances are given and that sort of thing. Next up is the plaza behind the Eiffel Tower, and we have a representation of some water there and some trees. That's actually a very large, long park, but it's represented fairly well here. And then I really like what they've done with this Eiffel Tower. It's a little bit different than what we've done in the past. We had not too long ago a Eiffel Tower just in and of itself, but this is done a little bit differently. And something interesting, these down here, these arch pieces, are the clear windshield pieces from Luke's Landspeeder in the Star Wars line, and they've just printed it with some of that detail there, and it works out really nicely. And then up at the very top we have a representation of the French flag, so very nicely done. And then the last thing here is the Louvre, and this is a museum that used to be a royal palace, but during the French Revolution it was taken over and turned into an art museum. The crystal pyramid out in front is done very nicely. When I was in Paris back in 2000, I was with my brother and my now sister-in-law, who was then his girlfriend. And I remember we were on a tour of the Louvre, and we all got out a little bit before everyone else. And so we were waiting, sitting on a bench, and Cameron, my brother, and Lindsay just got up and started dancing. There was no music. There was no nothing. They just started dancing. And I remember that vividly. And I knew at that moment that they would be married. And they were about a year and a half or 2 years later, I think. So anyway, I have good memories of being at the Louvre. And this is Lego's version of the Paris Skyline, set number 21044. So this set retailed for $50 here in the US, which is a bit much. However, that is fairly common for the architecture sets. And this one is bigger than a lot of the other ones we've gotten as far as its width and, of course, the height with the Eiffel Tower there. Incidentally, there are a few prints here. The tile with the name Paris, of course, is a print. And then we have a half a dozen of those white 1x1s with the little black dot printed on the side to represent windows. Those are really nicely done, and we do get a spare of that as well in the spare parts over here. We also have a spare of the cap of the pyramid, as well as one of these 1x1 clear slopes. So anyway, there are some nice and not so common pieces in this, and it is a really nice representation of Paris. So if you're a fan of the architecture line, it's not really out of line. $50. It is 649 pieces, but most of the pieces, or several of them anyway, are 1x1 or 1x2 or relatively small things. So the volume of stuff that you get for the $50 isn't great, but the end result is pretty good. All right, so that about does it for this one. This has been Christian with BrickLifeCrisis. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave us a like. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those below. And as always, thanks so much for watching. And until next time, take care. Bye for now.